Nothing is permanent. You are not, and by that I mean like you're not stuck in anything. You might feel stuck, but there's always room to grow. Nothing's permanent.
You are listening to the Pinnacle Podcast, where we empower women in medicine through education, community, and actionable strategies for both the practice and the business of medicine.
Medicine is a lifelong career, and continuing education is crucial for professional development. Pinnacle is the first and only multi-specialty organization dedicated to addressing the challenges that all women in healthcare face.
Welcome to Pinnacle, the elite professional community providing education for women in medicine. At Pinnacle, we challenge you to pave your own path by helping you develop the skills needed to not only stay in medicine, but to excel.
Welcome to the Pinnacle Prescription Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Pamela Mehta, and today I'm joined by Danielle Maltby. Danielle has been practicing registered nursing for 18 years, and after nearly 12 years as a NICU nurse, she stepped away from the bedside, where she leaned into social media and started one of the first healthcare podcasts geared towards empowering women in medicine called The WOMED. She currently works as an injector at Fulcrum Aesthetics in Chicago, Illinois, and she takes a multifaceted approach to skincare and aesthetic treatments, ensuring her patients feel safe and informed in their decisions. Danielle, I'm so happy to have you here today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I love that the roles have been reversed today.
Actually, the WOMED was one of the first podcasts I did back when I started social media. And I remember being so impressed with what you guys were doing and the questions that you were asking, because it was very new to me to be online, kind of just showing up so other women understood, like being a female in orthopedic surgery and just being a woman in healthcare. And so you really are such a pioneer in that whole space.
Thank you so much. As you were saying that, I'm like, wow, the whole landscape for not only podcasting, but the world and how Instagram has changed so much in the last like 4 or 5 years. Insane. Absolutely insane.
It's really changed things because when I was going through training, I didn't have very many mentors in real life. And now there's this whole world where you can find mentorship and camaraderie online. And it sounds so cheesy, but it's totally true that I would never have met you if it wasn't for medicine and social media, those two things together.
I know. It's like I say what you will about it. There's obviously so many downsides to social media, but it really has brought so many people together who otherwise wouldn't have met. So I consider myself very lucky to know you.
I feel the same way. So let's get into it. Tell me how you got into nursing. Like, what was your inspiration? What was your path? And tell me about the schooling involved. Tell me all the things.
Oh, wow. If we take it all the way back, I I always knew I wanted to be a helper of sorts. Women and children specifically always really called like the loudest to me, but I didn't know what that looked like. I'm like, well, I want to help people, but how do I help them? Am I a teacher? Am I a nurse? Am I a doctor? Like, where do I feel like I fit in? Um, and it wasn't until I was at the hospital with my grandpa while he was passing, and all of the nurses were truly so wonderful. And this is me like 6th grade. They were taking care of my grandpa. They were taking care of all of us and just really, I mean, at that point, I mean, I was in 6th grade. I didn't really fully grasp what it meant to be a nurse and extend yourself so much to not only care for your patient, but care for like the family members. Like I didn't really grasp that whole scope of practice yet. But I was like, wow, these women, like I felt like I could see myself in them. And I was like, I don't think I can do like adults. But I was like, I really want to focus on women and children. And I think it's nursing. I think nursing is the route for me. So that's kind of how I fell
Yeah,
into it.
it's funny because I think that we gravitate towards things that really touch our heart. And so
Mm.
I wanted to be a pediatrician for years because I thought, how can you be annoyed by a child? You know, a child that is in pain or sick or is
Mhm.
in need. Whereas I saw myself feeling, you know, like maybe I could be annoyed with adults. So it
Mhm.
is funny how you gravitate towards those fields. So you knew before you went into nursing that you were going to work with women and children.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, as with like med school and everything, you're kind of introduced to everything. And it's the same with nursing school. You have like your geriatrics, you have your adult intensive care, you have your pediatrics, maternity, like all the different areas and stuff that you're going to do clinicals and rotate through. But I, there's like a big part of me that was like, I don't need to know all this. I know exactly where I'm going. But you still do need to know it all.
Yeah, you have to go through the process and the journey.
Yeah.
So, where did you go to nursing school, and how did you get into NICU? Did you have to do any other field of nursing beforehand, or did you jump right into it?
Great question. I like the NICU honestly terrified me. Um, I went to nursing school at Viterbo University in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and it was just far enough away from my family. Like it was like a 3.5 hour drive. So like it had to be like a thing for like anyone to come on up. And I felt like very cool that I was getting away when everyone else was staying. Um, but that nursing program was amazing. It was like liberal arts nursing program. I could still dance and take all these like really fun nursing classes. And I, whew, I haven't thought about college in a minute. It's so
Nostalgic,
long
right?
ago. I was like, I'm gonna age myself here. But I graduated in 2007. But the summer before I graduated, everyone was really encouraged to do an internship, like do a summer internship just to give you the next like leg up and everything. Um, and I was already working as a CNA. So I worked as a CNA, like a bedside patient care technician, um, through like the last 2 years of nursing school, which I highly recommend doing that because it also gives you like a really good frame of reference for how things move in the hospital and how things move at the bedside and like trying to work together as a team. Um, but I ended up getting an internship that summer before I graduated in the NICU. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared.
You knew
Terrified.
it's what you wanted to do, but you were still scared.
Terrified. I thought I was going to be like in maternity or like the peds floor or something like that. And I fell in love with the NICU. I had like the quintessential tough preceptor nurse that I was, shadowed with. I really wasn't quite sure if she liked me, and it's just my personality to like make you like me. I am a people pleaser through and through, which, we're working on that. I'm in recovery. Um, we're trying
Aren't
to
so
be.
many of us type A women like that, though?
Yes. Yeah. And ADHD.
Yeah, there's that also. Just sprinkle that
Okay.
in as well.
Yeah, just sprinkle that, pinch that in there. Um, but she was a phenomenal teacher, even if I was terrified of her and I wasn't quite sure if she liked me or not. But she was a great teacher and I learned a lot. Getting comfortable handling something so tiny, and we didn't, in our clinicals really have a chance to do much in ICU, especially in like a pediatric ICU setting, where we're working with like CPAP, vent settings, umbilical lines. And so I feel like I really got more hands-on training during that. And it really gave me a leg up when applying for nursing positions after school. So I was like, nope, I know this. I know I can be good at this, which may have been like a safe route, but it also just really called to me. And I really felt like I was doing something. I was helping parents. I was watching these, little premature babies grow and get bigger every day. And it was just really wild. It was really cool. It's one of those worlds where everybody thinks you might just sit there rocking and feeding babies. And it's that I would love to take anyone on a tour of the NICUs that I have worked in and be like, we don't even touch this one because you can't just rock and hold the babies. Yeah, they're so like sickest of the sick. So
they really are. I think that would be super scary, but also super rewarding because kids in general are so resilient and they can heal.
So resilient.
They can heal so fast in a lot of ways. And so you probably saw just such a wide spectrum of sickness. And then as they're being discharged, so healthy.
Yes. Yeah.
So were you at the same place practicing for 12 years or did you move around?
No, I started out at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin, and I was there for about 4 years. And then I ended up moving down to Nashville and worked at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital for another 8 and was charged down there. And that was one of the, at Children's in Wisconsin, we saw a ton, but we didn't do ECMO or anything like that. Those kids were sent up to the PICU. But at Vandy, like, we did everything. Bedside surgeries, ECMO, cannulating, all the things. And so, half the time you just feel like a badass. Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. But at the other end of it, yeah, you do get to see children get better and go home, and you build these amazing connections with families. And I still have parents who text me and I'm like, oh my God, some of the first kids I took care of are teenagers now.
Well, that's beautiful.
But it's like you're just a very pivotal part in these people's lives. Like, you're getting signed up on their children every single day that you're there for continuity, and you really bond with them. So
it sounds like it was going great. What made you step away?
The bad days. Obviously not every baby is going to make it. And healthcare, like traditional hospital systems, don't care about you. Point blank. They might talk the talk that they do, but when it comes to setting up any sort of, true mental health resources for doctors and nurses, adequate staffing, safe staffing, and just like hospital bureaucracy on top of actual people dying, like no one's supposed to see the amount of death that people see working in healthcare consistently and just be okay every day and keep showing up to work. Like, nobody is okay.
No, it's just so sad that this is a common theme for why people leave their place of work in healthcare. It's the same thing over and over again. So it all comes down to mental health and burnout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so did you have a plan when you were deciding to leave? Did you know what you were going to do and what the next step was? Or were you just like, I have to get out of this right now?
I count myself very lucky in the fact, I didn't feel very lucky at the time because I was so depleted. I was so depressed. I was so anxious. And part of that was, this horrifying public breakup that I was going through. But it was just like the perfect storm. We had a slew of children with that were basically incompatible with life. And this breakup, and it just like over the couple months, like it just kept compounding, and I was so tired, and I'm like, I am not the nurse that these patients need right now. And I thankfully had a very large platform from being on The Bachelor, and had saved a bunch of money from, different like social media posts and stuff like that. And I could still rely on that income. But I knew I couldn't just, I'm like, if I'm going to step away from the bedside, I have to be doing something else. Otherwise, I don't feel like if I'm not a contributing member of society, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I decided I was going to start a podcast. And I didn't want it to be a bachelor podcast because that's what everybody was doing when they came off the show. I wanted to be helpful. I wanted something beneficial out there. And I still do. I always want to be like a change maker. Like, I want to be doing good in the world and putting good out there. And I started the WOMED with she's like a sister to me, but with Dani Levesque. I think you've had her on already.
Yeah.
And the WOMED, she'd be like, shut up, Danielle. But the WOMED wouldn't have gotten to where it was without her, because
she's so raw.
She's so raw. Yeah.
And so authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And I know me and you know each other pretty well too, and we're pretty authentic, but she takes it to a next level.
Hers is very unfiltered. And
very unfiltered. Agreed. I think
whatever we're scared to say, she's like, fuck it, I'll say it. Oh, sorry.
Absolutely. I don't think I go to those places, and she does. And then she makes you think about it. So I think that the two of you together, that was pure magic, to be honest.
It really was. And I have always been like, I want to be this change, right? I want to be this like person doing all this good. Do I consider myself a leader? Absolutely not. Like, I need someone there with me, like, because I'm scared. Like, deep inside, my inner child is scared to be too vocal on things. So we're working on her, but she's doing great.
She is doing great. Well, I am so happy you brought up that you were facing burnout at work, and then you were having some personal struggles as well. And yours was public, not private like so many of us. But I think that is also something key in healthcare, is that not only are we not provided those mental health services, but we're treated almost as if like we're going to work like an accountant does, right? Mm-hmm. So we are dealing with real lives, real heartache, real pain, and then we're also dealing with whatever's going on in our personal lives. So there's no way to separate those things.
No. And I mean, you can compartmentalize to a certain extent, but like, if you are feeling dead inside, there's only so much that you can give. And in medicine, you need your empathy.
Mm-hmm. You need to have that connection with your patients and their families. It just won't work otherwise, especially in nursing, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, definitely. So you started the podcast, and you were not clinical at this time, right? You took a break.
No, I took a break. I left the bedside in March of 2019, and by, I'd say like November, December, I was like, I need to get my hands back on some patients. Like, I'm going nuts. I love the podcast.
You didn't even let a whole year go by.
No, I sure didn't. But I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I knew the last place I wanted to be was back at the bedside. I was like, absolutely not. I can't. Not ready for that. And that kind of started me on this journey of, well, my God, like, what can I see myself doing? And therein, I feel like lies the beauty of nursing, because there's so many different moves that you can make within that field. There's a lot of lateral moves. There's some like, oh my God, upward moves. And you can completely jump careers or fields of practice. So I was actually
that is really, I want to interrupt you for 1 second.
Yeah.
That's such a beauty of nursing. And we have a lot of young viewers.
Yes.
And sometimes people don't realize this, but when you go into medical school and you do a residency, there is no lateral movement. You cannot become a dermatologist one day and a pediatrician the other day.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that's really unique and amazing about nursing, is that you really can have that diversity in your field.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can make an upward climb, you can move laterally, and you can and really find a space that works for you at that period of your life.
Yeah. It's one of the most special things about the nursing field. I truly believe that. But I was at my friend's house, and she was like, "You have to meet my friend Elizabeth. I think you'd really love her." And Elizabeth was she's like a toxin filler trainer in Nashville, and she ended up starting her own practice. She's brilliant. She's so smart. She's a PA. She was started her career in like oculoplastics, like a top tier human, but also incredibly talented injector. And she was like, like, I hear you're kind of like trying to figure out your next move. Have you ever thought about aesthetics? And I was like, oh my God, putting needles in faces? I'm like, what if I mess up their face? I'm like,
yeah,
that's what always stopped me. Like, I love doing hair. Could I ever cut hair? No. What if I messed up someone's hair? And that fear, it's a healthy fear to have with anything, especially if you're, in like a more artistic field, like aesthetic medicine. But she was like, I don't know. I think you could be really good at it. Like, actually, a lot of NICU nurses transfer into that. They're like super great, very talented, gentle injectors. And I was like, I don't know if you're just saying that or not. But she's like, we actually have this conference coming up. Why don't you come with me? And just see if like you like the science and like learning about it. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I'm not doing anything else. So she was truly very pivotal in me challenging myself to start something new that like I never thought I could do, or thought was like a pathway available to me as a nurse. And it's been rocky. I will say the first place that I worked at was, I did not feel very supported in. I had, one filler training where I put a needle in 3 different people in different spots, and then was told I had to start taking paid filler clients. And I was like, on my license? Like, no.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't feel safe. That doesn't feel like a, great learning environment.
Especially probably with your background too, and knowing like how much it took to be a comfortable NICU nurse with these.
And there's still a lot that can go very wrong in aesthetic medicine. It is not like, these are medications that either your like NP, your medical advisor is prescribing, and you are administering these medications. It is not just, come on over to my house, let me just like shoot you up with some tox, which people do, and it grinds my gears so hard. Well, it's like, how can you maintain sterility? And like, what if you have an occlusion? And like, what if this happens? And what if, you drop a brow, and like, how are you going to manage that patient? Like,
everything is fine until it's not, right?
Yes.
So you have to take those safety precautions.
Yes.
And I think that's your NICU background there telling you that.
1000%.
Yeah.
But I totally got on a tangent.
No, that's
really
okay.
back
So
in, please.
well, yeah, let's bring it back in. Let's bring it back in. So you were saying that you started taking some training classes on this.
Yes.
And so how, this is actually this is a good tangent, actually. I'd like to know, like, because there's not as many rules or restrictions or I guess a standard, unfortunately, for some of this.
Truly.
How did you make sure that you felt like you were at some sort of standard to be able to do this?
That's an amazing question. And I get asked that a lot in my DMs too, like, what courses did you take? What certifications do you have? And unfortunately, in this field, there aren't a lot of, like, there's not like a designated, this is the certification you have to get. You have to get this many hours to be able to treat this many patients. And it really comes down to finding like a well-educated injector that you work with that will train you.
Well, that's actually not that different than residency, to be honest.
Yes.
Because,
yeah,
I trained at Columbia, but if you train at, say USC, that's where I went to med school, you're going to have totally different skill sets when you leave.
Yes.
It's not going to be standardized. It's what you were sort of mentored on and who you learned with.
Right. So I was very lucky in that I honestly was like, I am done with aesthetics. This is not for me after the first job, because it just was not a great experience, unfortunately. And I think a lot of that truly came down to, it was a smaller practice. I mean, didn't really have like the resources to have as many like trainers and stuff come in. I'm trying to give grace in that. So I started working like part-time for a plastic surgeon and was just like helping out in the OR, circulating, and their injector, who is also phenomenal, was leaving. She was moving to New York, and she was like, Danielle, listen, like, I know you had a really bad experience, but just work with me. Like, I'm not leaving for like a couple of months. I'm going to teach you. She was also a trainer for Galderma, which is like the Dysport, Restylane, family of fillers and tox. And she just like went through everything with me. Like, I royally lucked out. We went through didactics. We went through trainings. She's like, all of my patients are going to be your patients. You are going to do everything with me. And like, we're going to do this all together until you feel comfortable. And I would not be here today without her. So
it's so crazy how like these pivotal moments and people come into your life and they just change the trajectory of where you're going.
Yeah. Shout out Kristen Torres, nurse practitioner. She's wonderful. So yeah, then I'm like, oh my God, no, I love this. This is so cool. Look at this art that I'm creating and helping people feel seen and feel like themselves. And it's just really, really, truly very special field. I feel like a lot of people think it can be kind of vapid, and it is. There's definitely that aspect to it, and a lot of people are just trying to sell. I want you to feel safe and comfortable, because it is your face, and I'm going to tell you no if I don't think you need it. I'm not going to just take your money.
We need that. We need that in that field.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love that. So there was a person that changed this for you, and then you decided that you were going to go all into it. So tell me how you feel as a nurse in this field with your physician counterparts. What do you feel like that relationship is like?
I was actually talking about this with I feel like she's my friend, but she's also my boss. No, but she's my friend first. Brittany Crosdale, who's just the absolute best, and I love her so much. She's so smart, and I'm constantly learning so much from her. And just feel very lucky to be in her orbit. But she's like, it's changing, But even at like aesthetic conferences, it's still very separate between like nurses and doctors. Like they're not like nurses aren't allowed to sit in, and it's getting better. She's like, there's not a lot of like commingling yet, which
that's sad to me, actually.
Yeah.
Again, that's part of like at Pinnacle. I and my co-founders, we all feel like this is something that needs to be collaborative, because as you were mentioning before, there's so much burnout and mental health issues in medicine that we should, at least within our own communities, be accepting and lean on each other. So it's hard to hear, and I guess I'd love your thoughts on what do you think could help bridge that gap?
I really don't know. I feel I've been doing this for like 5 years now, but I still also feel very new in it because it is a field that's constantly changing, and I haven't had the opportunity to attend a lot of conferences, being that my life has moved me from Nashville to Cleveland and now to Chicago. But so I haven't really picked up on and like noticed that separation aspect yet. So I don't know how to like better speak into that, but I think just like forming relationships with each other. You know, like not being scared to reach out, and like if you have a complication, like maybe you know how to manage it and this other clinic doesn't, so, or hasn't seen it yet, or like wants to know like the correct dosing. Like we've managed a lot of ptosis cases from different like cosmetic derms and stuff that and vice versa. Like we've like there's a lot of back and forth. Like I think I just think there's a lot of knowledge out there to be shared. And I don't know.
That's a beautiful point.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful point. Just knowledge sharing and networking and building those relationships. And I think something we as women do a little better than men, I'm not going to call all of them out, is like we're a little bit less defensive about sharing and mistakes we may make.
Yeah.
And so I think like you said, sharing ideas on complications and how to make things better is really something that helps with those relationship building as well.
And I wonder if maybe you can speak into this a little bit more, because I mean, other friends and stuff that I have like through FIGS that are, you know, speaking to them like about their residencies and, you know, finding their way to their specialties. Do you feel like it's like, I feel like there's way more competition. Like you're pitted against like your male counterparts so much more that like if someone else is coming into your space that, you know, didn't go to med school but is still able to do the things that you're doing. Like, I mean, I have a lot of empathy for that. I know that I would be a little like, excuse you. I would have to check myself, but I feel like I think, you know, I'm not perfect. I would have a little twinge of like territory, you know, but I like to think that it would be like a little twinge and then be like, oh, but like you're really cool. Like I know that this is something that everybody can get trained on and do and, you know, become really good at. So
I think that there unfortunately is still that vibe, and I really hate it. I really do. And I think probably is where, like you said, you had to check yourself. For me, it was when I went into private practice, solo practice by myself, is I realized that there are a lot of people out here, dentists, chiropractors, naturopaths, acupuncturists, that are taking care of people, running successful businesses, and I can learn from them. And it really humbled me, actually. I don't think I was one of those people that was super arrogant or egotistical, but at the same time, I wasn't exposed to a lot of that because we're just not in medicine, or as a physician at least.
You're going to learn everything in your field.
you're just right in your field, right? You don't know what's going on laterally. Like, I mean, dentists are the best people you can learn for if you're opening a private practice. They have it down.
Yeah.
And so I would never have known that unless I went into private practice. But I agree with you. I think a little bit of it is just kind of opening your mind, opening your heart, like recognizing we're all here to help people, whether that's to make them feel beautiful and confident or to fix their bone or to take care of someone in the NICU. Like we're all here for the same purpose in life.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
Okay, well, we've actually run out of time. So
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
I
this
could
is
get
not
on
a so
tangents.
sorry
I'm
situation.
sorry.
I could go on with you forever.
Well, I'm happy to do a part 2 if there's more that you.
Yes, we will. Maybe we'll do it while we're actually at Pinnacle. I think setting up a studio there.
Oh, that would be amazing.
So, Danielle has never been to Pinnacle Conference, and we're very excited because she is coming this year.
I can't wait.
While you're at Pinnacle, there's going to be a lot of not just listening to amazing talks, but just a lot of conversations between those talks and at our social events. And so I would love to ask you, what would be your Pinnacle pearl to the audience? And this could be a pearl that you would maybe share with like your younger self, but what's some words of wisdom you can leave our audience with?
Nothing is permanent. You are not, and by that I mean like you're not stuck in anything. You might feel stuck, but there's always room to grow. Nothing's permanent.
Oh, that's great. I kind of needed to hear that myself right now.
I wish we were in person. I could just like give you a hug.
All right, Danielle, so how can people find you online?
Oh, I am on Instagram. My personal account is at DM Maltby. I also have like a separate injector account, and I'm really working on sharing more educational stuff on there too for the field. So that's Danielle_Fulcrum Chicago. So those are the two places you can find me online.
That's great, Danielle. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, and we're very excited to see you at Pinnacle.
I can't wait for Pinnacle. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, you're going to have a good time. You have to get all your pink out.
I've got this like pink shirt on for work, and it works for today. So
we'll take you any way that you come, but it is kind of a fun excuse to dress up and be sparkly and
be super unapologetically girly.
Absolutely. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. You take care.
You too, Pam. It's so nice to see you and speak with you.
Thank you for listening to the Pinnacle Podcast, where we strive to elevate the voices of women in medicine and inspire excellence across the healthcare landscape. Until next time, keep reaching for your pinnacle.